Royalties of peace, turning the storm back to peace that has no storm, looking onto perfect peace. How we all doing today? Yes, it is another water day. It is my water day, awareness day, awareness day. Today is September 27th of 2023. Yes, we are almost completing September, welcoming October. So, how do we complete this month? Must we realize we are already in the fall season? This is autumn. The autumn season is already here. The awareness of a weakness is seeking wellness. The meaning of the fall season to us. Last video, I tried to explain to us that learning is a process to wellness perfect. And concerning our journey to perfect peace, we are learning nothing new, but a reminder of what is forgotten. We are learning nothing new, but a reminder of what is forgotten. Yes, royalties. Must we be able to reflect together, bringing in every lessons and experiences of life, all that we have learned along the way, and ponder upon gracefully, understanding before the fall or before the awareness of a fall, we were first of wellness. Like a journey, we are returning to the destination perfect. We must accomplish our goal. Have I been trying for us to understand our goal is a two-part. You have the self and the universal, like a foundation and a mansion. The foundation is self, of repairing before we can wear the mansion, our perfect state. We are like water droplets reversing into air. The air bubbles. The air bubbles the gaseous state must become perfected by becoming battlefield free, being free of affliction, being free of igniting with each other, but fused to one perfect peace of the mind, like broken pieces of glasses put together to make a whole glass again, is usable. When in pieces, it looks like it's not usable until when put back to one, then it becomes usable. Now, being in pieces does not mean that it's not usable. It's only a process, a learning process. Unto perfect peace. An affirmation of the only ability to be useful is being a whole and not in pieces. In pieces, like divided, afflicting each other, is the ice age. Our solid state, where there's so much ignition, is the ice age that can travel on to being a liquid or water stage before getting to the gaseous state. But I've been emphasizing we should remember that the ice can sublime. Ice can sublime. Ice must not go through the liquid stage to become gas of perfect peace, but from the solid state can become gas of perfect peace. It is better to recover the earliest possible than going the complicated way, than waiting to be of liquid state to start seeking recovery. Why not now, when it's possible to even escape from being of liquid state and be of complete gaseous, perfect free of impurities, of afflictions? Our title is Eternity, Part 2. Our title last reflection was Eternity, Part 1. I said eternity is infinity, saying ice can melt into water and then evaporate. Yet ice of self being able to sublime is a worthy encouragement unto us, not to feel like struggling with the prolongation of what we can achieve already in the ice age. Fullness of perfect peace can be achieved of the ice age by practicing accordingly without stagnation. I was trying for us to understand some little vocabularies of our journey. So whenever I use them, we should be able to understand what I'm trying to explain to us. I said progress is limited compared to continuous process. Now, learning is more than a progress, but a continuous process. There is a misunderstanding of what is positive learning from negative learning. Coming from the mindset of nothing is wrong, but all right. Understanding that there is no wrong way, but only one called right. Must we understand what we call a wrong way is only a prolongation of what is right. To reach its perfection. The prolongation of what is right to reach its perfection does not mean we've gone the wrong way, but only like a stagnation. I said stagnation is the need of relearning. Feeling like you've forgotten or feeling like you need a reminder. You keep relearning the same thing over and over. In the journey to perfect peace is called stagnation. Relearning is stagnation. the need of not giving up, the mind at work, though you are not of action, the processing of the mind in the physical state, like a stone has a mind behind it, though it's not moving, though looking stationary, it's at work, it's in progress, not of continuous process, but in a progress. It's still contemplating of the mind until it is able to be of continuous process. We all at different levels of progress. Looking like stationary is aging of the same being. Looking at their heights of every growth at the same position. The growth is progress, though the same person. Relearning. Every stage of a human is relearning. From a child, from elementary to high school to college, is the same knowledge, only expanding, but the same knowledge. A seed grows into a tree and becomes a seed again. Instead of staying just the tree, it becomes a seed again. More like a cycle. That is a progress, not a continuous process. A continuous process should be of completion. It's time for us to really reflect, to understand where we are going. We have all the words, but not accordingly being used because of the misconception of there is a rejection somewhere. There is a possibility of unidentification. Scared to be unidentified. Someday feels like useless doing what now? There is no possibility of unidentification. There is no possibility of being forgotten. We realize of the ice age that people are being forgotten. But of the gaseous state, no one is forgotten because the action is completed and we are now only of the thought. Nothing distracts the mind in the gaseous state because we are now completely the mind. We are no longer of the actions of the ice age or liquid age. Gaseous age of completion perfect is greater enlightenment of all of the solid state and liquid state have become the gaseous state. No pausing, no pausing in between, no ice age in between, no liquid age in between, but just the gaseous state of perfect. No longer of process, but of continuous process. To complete from the progress, we experience stagnation. The earth has been revolving for 4.6 billions of years. That's like a stagnation, but a progress. Stagnation is relearning. And stagnation is a word louder than action. in the solid stage. Stagnation is experienced only in the solid stage and in the liquid stage. Stagnation is not experienced in the gaseous state of perfect. Stagnation is only recognized in the place of battlefield of the mind. That is the solid and liquid state of us. And that is the word louder than action. Your thinking process is more than your action. An example I gave is the stone. It is obvious that in a journey, your actions should be louder than your words, is what I said in the last video. Because you are in a process to become, you're in the process of becoming the word. And the most effective word is the thought of perfect. The perfect idea is the true word, or reality is the perfect mind of battlefield free. Sublimation to the ice age is better than evaporation of the liquid stage, but all the same. Water evaporating and ice subliming is all the same. Sometimes of the ice age, we feel like the liquid evaporating is better because we do not see them anymore than of the ice age becoming liquid. Ice realizes there is a melting state, there's a melting existence of ice into liquid, and there's a sublimation state of the ice into gas. Having these two sides is kind of complicated to the ice of understanding which is more effective. But the liquid knows only the one way, which is the gaseous way. This is for us, the scientists. This is for us, the secular world. The spiritual world has a different view of this. The spiritual world has a different view, of this, of drawing angels, expressing spiritual beings to reflect the liquid mind, the liquid state of our being. The mind, the liquid state of our being. They have these angelic beings like gaseous bubbles to us of the physical ice age will perceive, sometimes touchable, sometimes not touchable. But we must ensure that we are focused on the basics of us, of this journey of peace during the storm, back to peace that has no storm, looking onto perfect peace, understanding you need not go to the ocean to know what water is like, when of a drop is sufficient. Eternity is the gaseous state of us, the air of battlefield free. Only of mind we speak with each other, of perfect peace, experiencing is joy unto us, and the uniformity keeps us one. Living reality. The word of its invisibility, perfect peace, is our reality. Understanding all that, getting rid of bad must take a form of redefinition. We must redefine the word bad. because it misleads us, thinking that some are rejectable. Must I, in this video of Eternity Part 2, explain to us carefully what bad really means? Should we call it bad for the dummies? Like we know of the physics for the dummies, chemistry for the dummies? Dummies only meaning one of fullness of knowledge, forgetful, can be reminded, does not mean that you are not smart, does not take it from your true identity. Being able to forget does not mean you are not who you are. Losing your identity card does not mean that you've lost your identity. It can be found and brought to you. No one can take your dignity away. But when you forget your dignity, someone can remind you. Why we have the dignity rehabilitations. What is bad of how complicated it has become today? This is the fall season. It is very important to know what bad is. What is bad? Awareness of a diagnosis seeking wellness is the fall. So what is bad? Bad are the complicated use of our good. What is complication? Like crutches to one healing, if overused, can instead disable this one even more. Our edibles, the pictures we have that reminds us of who we are, of origin, perfect peace, are only to be used for a time. It's only supposed to be for temporary. Going to school should be temporary, not forever. You must be able to achieve your integrity and experience integrity. If you forget who you are, once you remember who you are, you have to act it. You have to be it and not just keep looking at what you thought you were. And that's all about it. You must be able to recopy who you were and be of expected. Recopying is the stagnation onto progress. The stagnation onto progress is your recopying of self back to expected. And when you become of continuous progress, you keep on advancing, and that is the true reality of battlefield free, the continuous of perfection. Bad are our edibles. Now, the difference between a walker that will help you mobilize again is different from a smacking of one who needs correction. Correcting one from their behavior of complicated by smacking is a prolongation, a complication, a prolongation, like prolongating the use of an aid or a walker that can instead demoralize or disable you even more. Smacking comes from warning. Smacking is a prolongation of a warning. All are aids, but you don't want to overuse the aid. When it becomes a reason to smack, that means you are prolongating the use of your aid, and that becomes another disability, enabling. And the prolongation of a complication becomes the need of a complicated recovery. Do not become too solid on ice. It takes a longer time to sublime completely. I hope this is helping us to understand what I'm trying to explain on this journey of advancing to perfect peace, from fall to perfect mind, the awareness of our weaknesses, seeking wellness. Maybe asking them, but what is the reason of our fall? The knowing of self is traveling, but you are limited of traveling. When you start feeling exhausted, you need to return and not continue too long. If you continue too long, you become exhausted, needing to return, and then needing crutches or needing a cane or a walker to support you to gain self and return home. But if you overuse the cane, it becomes complicated. It is that keeps you disabled. It is that keeps you like in the journey. If you bring your cane home and you keep using it at home, it becomes like still in the journey. You cannot use this physical in the mind battlefield free. You cannot take the ice into the gaseous state of perfect. You cannot take the liquid into the gaseous state of perfect. Let us reflect with the basics, like dummies, we'll call ourselves today, of how can one with so much knowledge become short of knowledge. We ask ourselves, why are we even going to school? What is going on? Why did I even become a baby? Like, did I ask to become a baby? Why am I now trying to learn and complete school? And then seeing my grandmother dementia is like, what is going on? I thought maybe becoming a senior is becoming smarter and the smartest. What is going on? What is this exhaustion? Yes, I was exhausted being a baby, but understanding that I'm healing, growing up. My seniors should be smartest. What is dementia? I'm scared. I'm disturbed. What are awareness of diagnosis, seeking wellness? Eternity. Where is my eternity? My integrity is shaking. Where is my eternity? My trying for us to understand through these little basics of the physical, of the ice age. All is with us, interestingly. All answers are with us, like on your identity card. All you need to know about you is right there on your identity card or on your license, some call it. My names. I now know my names. I know my height. I know everything about me that I need to know. I'm black. I, I am. I have blue eyes. I know me. So this is me. Born this year and that. By oh, now I know where I'm going. I know home. Yet have I pleaded, ice has two ways, the liquid and the gaseous. Be careful with the path you're taking. Melting into water is a prolongation, it's a long road. If you're exhausted, you want the fastest means to get home. You prefer a plane. If they offer you a plane with a comfortable bed to reach home and a carriage pulled by a horse, I bet you prefer a plane than a carriage pulled by a horse. The season from working animals and having these comfortable planes that we fly in and limousine of beautiful cars that we ride in shows the royalty that we are. We cannot deny the royalty we are of the mind. We must be still the storm to perfect peace. Working with the assertive the assistive devices very carefully without enabling a jeopardy of them. Let them be of worthy of use. The beautiful houses, the beautiful planes, the beautiful cars. We can leave this world luxurious of the physical, of the ice age, onto the gaseous state, where we are perfect. Let us understand why we have all these luxuries with us. Do not deprive yourself from luxuries. Now, encouraging everyone to be able to have luxury helps us to travel unexpected. Of all 99 luxurious, with one left behind, looking poor is still of self not complete. It's like having a crutch or a crutch in the house, making your house a rehabilitation center. It's not what we are expecting. We are expecting our world must accomplish our work. A learning that must be understood is more than a progress, but continuous process. A learning we must understand is more than a progress, but a continuous process. It's not only about the progress with the cane, or with the crutches, or with the bodies we wear, or the planes, or the luxurious houses. But the mindset is temporary. Once we get home, we should be done with all this and live off battlefield free. So we become not of complicated, disabled in the house, needing to go back to where we don't want to be. Understanding right now, we don't want to be in the journey. Having our earliest age being disrupted of the mind and our seniors of age looking dementia, disturbed of the mind, is very confusing to feel like lost. Let us be found this fall season. Let us be found. Awareness of our weakness, seeking wellness. Our wellness is eternity. Our wellness is battlefield free. Our wellness is air of purity, depurifying your air, the gaseous state of perfection, no collisions, no afflictions. Eternity is infinity. It has no time. Time is only for those that work, those at the rehabilitation center. The time to return home. Home is eternity and infinity. We are experiencing a time. The solid age, the ice age is the solid age. The water or liquid age makes the gaseous stage look like an age. Gaseous has no age. But a continuous of eternity, always perfect, of peace. The true gaseous state should not be mistaken for those still struggling of the impurities returning like water and becoming ice. Let us advance to the greatest and perfect of us. Eternity perfect peace of battlefield free, none left behind. Yes, recovering from low self-esteem, arrogance, onto perfect peace. Now, this is a Hispanic Heritage Month. So I want to remind us of our cultures only expressing our ice age of differences, unifying with each other, is calling us together for sublimation. Sublimation of expected is required of us. And that takes the acknowledgement of the truth that we are. We all having the same mind of battlefield free must be. Protecting each other from low self-esteem and arrogance. We are all one. We are all one. The Hispanic Heritage Month started September 15 until October 15. While we complete today, let us go back and find some valuables of the Hispanic culture. And then we'll get back next Wednesday and talk a little bit on it concerning our journey. Understanding that there are crutches that could be of a prolongated use, looking like causing disability and being pushed away, which if worked with of expected can recover to perfect. Some no longer in use because they're now of greater in existence, should not be rejected, should not be condemned, but see from where we started before we became of this better must also be honored. Even if not being able to be used, do not reject. Do not reject. I beg, I plead. It's time for honoring. It's time for honoring. We no longer use carriages with horses because we have luxurious cars. Yet we appreciate the horses and carriages that carried us to this present state of today. We do not want to go back to those, but walk with the luxurious cars we have now onto the glacial state perfect. And even greater of luxurious cars we can afford and enable. Of battlefield free we must be, of understanding, not to reject, but to let them rest in peace, appreciating from where we come from until today. Thank you all for listening and stay tuned for next Wednesday, our first water day of October month. Thank you. Peace steals the storm back to peace that has no storm, looking on to perfect peace.